Scarcity is not always what happens when you do not have enough. Sometimes scarcity is the way you keep yourself small enough to feel safe when more finally becomes possible. And if you stay with me, I want to help you identify the exact belief that makes you pull back at the moment your financial life could actually expand. Because if you leave before you see it, there is a good chance you will keep calling the same pattern prudence. You will delay the investment again, lower the number again. Tell yourself the opportunity is too good to trust, the timing is not right, the risk is too high. And maybe this is already familiar. Money comes in, but somehow your life reorganizes itself so that it never feels like you truly have more. You earn a little more and a new expense appears. You are offered a bigger opportunity, and suddenly you need more time to think. You know you should charge more, but when it is time to say the number out loud, you soften it before anyone even objects. I am not saying every hesitation is sabotage. Some risks are real. Some opportunities are bad. Some seasons do require restraint. But I want you to look at the decisions where the facts are not actually stopping you and something inside you still reaches for the brake, because that is where scarcity becomes harder to recognize. It does not always sound like fear. It can sound intelligent, responsible, mature. It can say, I just want to be realistic, while quietly making sure nothing changes, to threaten the version of you that already knows how to survive. So ask yourself this: what would you have to face in yourself if money stopped being your excuse? Not what would you buy, not how much would you save. What would become impossible to avoid about you? Because there is a difference between wanting more and being willing to remain present when more asks something new from you. And somewhere inside that difference is a question about what you believe you are allowed to receive, hold, ask for, and keep. That question matters because the pattern usually does not appear when you are struggling. It appears when something starts working, when the client says yes, when the salary can be negotiated, when the business begins to grow, when an opportunity asks you to step into a room where you can no longer pretend you are only trying things out. That is the moment many people think they are making a careful financial decision when they may actually be protecting something much deeper. I want you to notice the sequence: possibility, expansion, discomfort, retreat, explanation. The explanation changes, but the sequence does not. And until you see what that sequence is protecting, you can spend years improving your strategy while repeating the same ceiling with better language. So before we talk about where this pattern comes from, we have to name what is happening in the present moment, right where you are making these decisions now. When does being financially safe, being wisdom, and start becoming a way of making sure your life never grows beyond what feels familiar? The problem is that you may have started treating financial safety as if it means financial stillness. And I understand why. When life has taught you that money can disappear, that people can disappoint you, that stability can vanish without warning, caution does not feel like fear. It feels like intelligence. So you double-check, you wait, you save a little longer, you tell yourself you are being responsible. But there is a difference between protecting what you have and refusing to move, because movement itself feels dangerous. The painful part is that this can happen while you are doing everything that looks right. You can be disciplined, thoughtful, hardworking, and still keep recreating the same financial range because every decision that could stretch that range gets delayed until it loses momentum. You may even watch other people move faster with less preparation and wonder what they have that you do not. Often it is not better judgment. They are simply more willing to tolerate uncertainty while acting. You are not lazy. You are not incapable. You are not secretly trying to fail. You are trying to stay safe with the rules your nervous system already knows, even when those rules no longer fit the life you say you want. Maybe the decision is sitting in front of you right now. You know you should raise your rate, but you keep editing the message before sending it, or have enough information to make the investment, but you open one more tab, watch one more video, ask one more person, because certainty still feels one answer away. Someone offers you a larger role, a bigger contract, a more visible opportunity, and instead of asking, what would make this work? Your mind immediately starts building the case for why now may not be the right time. That is resistance disguised as prudence. It rarely announces itself as panic. It speaks in complete sentences. It uses spreadsheets. It can even quote good advice. And that is why it is so convincing. Real prudence looks at risk and makes a decision. Fear disguised as maturity keeps moving the decision itself. It says, "Not yet," but never defines what would make later different. It says, "I need to be realistic," while quietly lowering the ceiling of what reality is allowed to become. Then weeks pass. The opportunity cools. Someone else names the price you were afraid to name. The moment moves without you, and your hesitation gets rewritten as proof that waiting was wise. Because the language sounds reasonable, you may never notice that the result is always the same. You stay inside a financial identity that feels familiar enough to manage. This is where the problem becomes more intimate than money. Your nervous system may have learned that less is easier to control than more. Less money means fewer expectations. Less visibility means fewer opinions. Less responsibility means fewer is to disappoint people, make a mistake, or prove that you cannot maintain what you built. So when expansion arrives, your body may read it as exposure before your mind has time to call it opportunity. You feel the tension, and then you search for a rational explanation that allows you to retreat without admitting you are retreating. That does not mean every no is fear or every risk should be taken. It means you need a cleaner question. Am I protecting myself from a bad decision or from the discomfort of becoming more visible inside a good one? Because if "it's not the right time yet" keeps appearing at the exact moment growth asks something of you, then timing may not be the real issue at all. Something underneath that sentence is being protected. Something believes delay is safer than expansion. So where did you learn that having more would make you less safe? The deeper pattern is not that you are afraid of money. It is that growth can threaten the role you learned to play in order to stay connected to other people. Maybe you learned to be the reasonable one, the humble one, the one who never asks for too much. Maybe you learned that wanting more makes people uncomfortable, that earning more changes how others look at you, that becoming more visible creates distance. So when your financial life begins to expand, the old role gets activated. You are not simply deciding whether to take an opportunity. You are deciding whether you are willing to become someone who can no longer hide inside the identity that kept you accepted. That is why the pattern appears at the edge of expansion. You do not sabotage everything. You sabotage the moment that would require a new relationship with yourself and with the people around you. You lower the price before anyone calls you greedy. You decline the bigger role before anyone says you have changed. You hide the amount you earned because you do not want someone close to you to feel smaller. You spend what you gained because keeping it would make the change real. You may even hear yourself preparing a defense before anyone has accused you of anything, explaining why the raise is not that big, why the new client was mostly luck, why the purchase was discounted, why you are still the same person. That is the clue. Prosperity has not even harmed the relationship, and you are already trying to neutralize the threat of being seen differently. Then you tell yourself the story that makes the retreat sound sensible. It was too soon. I need more experience. I do not want to become obsessed with money. The explanation sounds mature, but the timing tells the truth. The hesitation appears when expansion becomes visible. And there is a reason this can feel so powerful. Belonging is not an abstract need. Long before you had adult language for ambition, you were already learning which version of you kept connection intact. Maybe praise came when you were easy to manage. Maybe you watched someone with money become criticized, resented, or isolated. Maybe success in your environment was treated as arrogance. Maybe asking for more was met with guilt. You do not need one dramatic memory for this pattern to exist. Repetition is enough. A look, a joke, a warning, a sentence like, "Do not get ahead of yourself." Over time, the body learns the rule before the mind ever questions it. Stay inside the range where you are still recognizable to the people who matter. This is why "it's not the right time yet" can become such a convincing shelter. It protects more than your bank account. It protects your place in the room. Think about how subtle that can be. You are about to name your real rate, and suddenly you imagine the other person's face. You are about to accept a promotion, and your mind jumps to who might think you have become arrogant. You are about to keep the money instead of immediately spending it, and some part of you feels almost disloyal. Nothing has happened yet. The discomfort arrives in anticipation. Real wisdom can say no and still leave you feeling clear. Fear disguised as maturity keeps asking for more evidence because no amount of evidence can solve a belonging problem. Real wisdom evaluates the opportunity. Fear evaluates what the opportunity might force you to become. Real wisdom asks, is this aligned? Fear asks, who will I lose if I stop being this version of me? And this is where I want to ask you again, with more weight than before. What would you have to face in self if money stopped being your excuse? Maybe you would have to face the possibility that the next level of your life cannot be built while protecting every old relationship to your old identity. Maybe you would have to admit that some of your caution is not about losing money. It is about losing permission. Once you see that, the first two patterns become easier to understand. The cycle of possibility, expansion, discomfort, retreat, explanation is not random. It is a protection sequence. And the phrase, "not yet," is often hiding a more vulnerable sentence underneath it. I do not know if I am allowed to become this person and still belong. That does not mean you should abandon people, reject your history, or turn prosperity into proof that you are better than anyone. It means you stop asking your old identity to approve a future it was never built to hold. You can honor where you came from without using it as a ceiling. You can love people without making their comfort the final authority over your decisions. You can make a careful financial choice without shrinking the choice until nobody can misunderstand you. And you can notice the difference between discomfort that warns you and discomfort that simply announces growth. This is the point where most people reach for another strategy, another book, another spreadsheet, another way to become certain before they move. But certainty is not the missing piece here. You already know more than you think. The real question is whether you can stay present when prosperity changes the way you are seen, including the way you see yourself. Because if the old pattern is protecting belonging, then the way out cannot simply be make better financial decisions. It has to teach you how to survive the feeling that comes after you finally make one. So what if the solution is not becoming more confident about money, but becoming more capable of tolerating who you become when you stop making yourself smaller? The solution is not to become fearless around money. It is to become more tolerant of the discomfort that appears when your growth becomes visible. Most people assume they need a better strategy, more information, more certainty, more confidence. Sometimes those things help. But if the real pattern is protecting your belonging, then more information will not touch the mechanism. You can know the market rate and still undercharge. You can know the opportunity is good and still delay. You can know the numbers work and still shrink the decision until it no longer changes anything. What you need is the ability to remain present when the old identity starts sending alarms. When your chest tightens after you name the real price. When you imagine someone thinking you are greedy. When you feel the urge to explain, apologize, discount, retreat. That sensation is not always proof that the decision is wrong. Sometimes it is simply the cost of no longer hiding inside the version of you that everyone already. And if you reached this point and part of you is still saying, it's not the right time yet, I want you to hear that sentence differently. That is exactly the thought we came here to examine. Because if you leave it unquestioned, you can delay the same financial decision for the third, fourth, fifth time and still call the pattern prudence. The goal is not to force yourself into reckless choices. The goal is to stop letting discomfort make the decision before your judgment has a chance to speak. There is an important difference between a warning and an activation. A warning brings information. The numbers do not work. The terms are bad. The downside is unacceptable. Activation brings urgency without clarity. Pull back, disappear, make this smaller, make sure nobody is upset. If you cannot tell those two signals apart, scarcity can borrow the voice of wisdom and make every retreat feel responsible. So I want to give you a simple exercise, but I do not want you to answer it intellectually. Use a real situation, something recent, something that still carries a little tension in your body when you remember it. First question, in what recent situation did you lower what you wanted to ask for because you imagined the other person's reaction? Maybe it was your salary, your rate, your fee, the amount you asked someone to contribute, the size of the opportunity you allowed yourself to pursue. Do not choose a theoretical example. Choose the moment where you edited yourself. Now, second question, what were you trying to stop that person from thinking about you if you asked for the real amount? This is where the exercise becomes useful. Maybe you were trying to stop them from thinking you were greedy. difficult, arrogant, unrealistic, ungrateful, too ambitious. Maybe you were trying to preserve the image of being easy, generous, humble, safe. Notice what happens here. The number is no longer the center of the decision. Identity is. You are not only negotiating money, you are negotiating who you are allowed to be in someone else's eyes. Stay there for a second. If your answer is, I didn't want them to think I was selfish, ask what you believe would happen if they did. Would they pull away? Respect you less? Talk about you differently? Would you feel guilty enough to reverse the decision? That extra layer matters because it reveals the consequence your nervous system is actually trying to prevent. And then the third question, if you did not need to protect that image of yourself, what would you ask for differently tomorrow? Not someday, tomorrow. What number would change? What conversation would become more direct? What opportunity would you stop pretending you need more time to consider? The point is not that you must always ask for more. The point is that your answer should come from value, reality, and alignment, rather than from the need to remain harmless in someone else's imagination. This is where the unexpected part of the solution begins. You do not build prosperity only by making bigger moves. You build it by increasing your capacity to stay with yourself after the move. You ask for the real amount, and then you do not immediately explain it away. You receive more, and you do not rush to prove that you are still humble enough to deserve belonging. You make a stronger decision, and you allow someone else to have an opinion without converting that opinion into an emergency. This is not emotional detachment. It is emotional responsibility. It is learning that another person's discomfort does not automatically mean you have betrayed your values. It is learning that your own discomfort does not automatically mean danger. And this is why the solution is not "believe you deserve more" as a slogan. You need evidence created through behavior. Every time you stay in the room after naming the real price, every time you resist the urge to shrink after being seen, every time you let a good decision remain a good decision even while your body is uncomfortable, you teach yourself something new. Expansion is survivable. Visibility is survivable. Being misunderstood is survivable. You can still belong to yourself even when you cannot control how everyone else interprets your growth. That closes the question we opened before. The way out is not more confidence before action. It is building tolerance through action. But knowing that still leaves one problem. Because the next time the moment arrives, the old response will be fast. Our body will tighten before your philosophy has time to speak. You may know exactly what is happening and still feel yourself reaching for the old exit. Insight gives you a map, but it does not move your feet. So when that happens in real time, when you feel the urge to lower the number, delay the decision, or make yourself smaller, what exactly do you do next? The next time the pattern appears, do not try to become a different person in one decision. Do 3 things in order. First, name the pattern out loud before you act. I am feeling the urge to shrink because being seen here feels unsafe. That sentence separates the sensation from the instruction. You are allowed to feel fear without obeying it. Second, return to the facts. What is the real value? What do the numbers say? What would you choose if nobody's opinion about you were part of the calculation? Write the answer down. Third, make one visible move that matches that answer. Send the rate. Ask for the salary. Keep the money instead of spending it. Say yes to the opportunity that is aligned. Then do not rush to erase the discomfort. Do not send a second message softening the first. Do not over-explain. Do not apologize for taking up the space your decision requires. Name it. Hold it. Move anyway. This is how you teach your system that discomfort can exist without becoming retreat. Then observe what happens after the action, because this is where the old pattern tries to recover control. You may start imagining what people think. You may want reassurance. You may suddenly find 10 reasons why the decision was too much. Instead of correcting the decision immediately, pause. Ask, did new information appear, or did old discomfort appear? If there is new information, respond to it. If there is only discomfort, stay. That is the practice. Not forcing abundance. Not pretending risk is imaginary. Not turning money into a measure of your worth. You are building the ability to make a clear decision and remain yourself while other people react to it. With repetition, something changes. The moment that used to feel like danger starts feeling like evidence that you are crossing an old boundary. The price you once whispered becomes a number you can say calmly. The opportunity you once delayed becomes a decision you can evaluate without asking whether everyone will still recognize you afterward. You stop using belonging as a hidden tax on your prosperity. And this is what I want you to carry with you. Scarcity was never only about what you lacked. It was also about how small you believed you had to remain to stay safe and accepted. The responsibility now is not to chase more at any cost. It is to stop abandoning yourself whenever more asks you to be visible. Prosperity is not what enters your account. It is what you stop being afraid to deserve. Let that land before you turn this into another idea you agree with and forget. The next decision is where this becomes real. If this gave language to